For more about 702,
go to primemediaplus.com.
She is an actress, a fitness fanatic, and she is also involved in a million other things. You've heard her in different songs like Mzwembe, you've heard her in Naile Walk, and you've seen her on various productions, including Shaka Zulu and many others. And her name is Khabonina Qubeka. She's an actress, singer, dancer, choreographer, TV presenter, and businesswoman. Khabo, so lovely to have you. I hope you're well. Happy Workers' Day. It looks like you're working quite a bit yourself. Hi.
Hi, Thabo. How are you?
I'm just free.
I'm laughing at your introduction. You've just made me somebody bigger than I am, and I really appreciate it. It's such an honor. And you said you are not moving furniture. You definitely moved furniture right now. Oh my gosh, such an honor to be talking to you, Thabo. I'm so happy to be on this feature. Thank you.
No, I'm the one who's excited. When I heard that you had agreed to come through, I was thrilled. I had
Thabo,
I
only agreed.
Yes.
I only agreed because Thabo, if it was Clement, I can't make it. But when they said to me, it's Thabo, I was like, oh my God.
You see now, you're going to get me into trouble. They won't allow me to do this, to stand in again.
Anymore.
Yeah, on Workers' Day, you are getting me fired.
It's ridiculous.
Khabo, honestly, thanks.
Yes.
Great having you. I've mentioned 10,000 titles. Which one of those is most comfortable for you? And I know I'm asking you to choose a favorite child amongst your kids, but which one is more fitting like a glove for you? And if the proverbial gun against your head and you had to choose one, which one would it be?
Number one, I love that question, and I would have answered that question so differently if it was about 2 years ago, right? Now I do not have a comfortable, a fitting one, because I don't believe in the labels. You know, like I think as you grow up in life and as you do what you do because you're passionate about it, you forget the label. You forget. You know, it's like a mother being a mother. You're just doing what you're doing. You're just mothering. You are nurturing. You're basically nurturing. So the label is your mother, but when your what your calling is to nurture.
Sure.
If I can put it that way. So for me, it's genuinely that, Thabo. I'm not even trying to be sophisticated or anything like that. But honestly, it's a calling. When I'm in that space at that time, that's what I'm called to do, and I do it with all my heart and soul.
No, it makes perfect sense to me, and I understand exactly what you mean. But sticking to that theme of choosing one, which production or which song, which of all of these made you feel like, I've arrived? Because, Khabo, we do 10,000 things, ne? And it doesn't mean that because now you're on Shaka Zulu and that was your best. And it could have been that you were on stage in Zola somewhere and you gave your best performance, right?
Yes.
And that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking the one that really grabbed people's attention, the one that made you feel like, I've sufficiently arrived and captured the market that I've been seeking to capture.
Sure. I hear what you're asking me. It is that moment where it's almost like an aha moment where you feel like this is what I'm supposed to do, right? So for me, it was in Orlando West Extension. Orlando West Extension, and I'm planning in Mrs. Mampuru Street, with my friends, and the fact that people are tuning up. Labantwana bayeza, omunye uphethe amatlazi, utshontsha amatlazi from ekitchen, omunye uphethe isofa, uphethe idoil lehleli phezu kwesofa to do this and that. And the fact that we did in Miss Mampuru Street and we were small and we made it happen and it was a success. And that's when I knew with my gang, with I guys Bafet, Sangena man. No, we are entering. So for me, from a very young age, that was an aha moment. So I've had those. So I had those very young. But obviously, when you grow up, some things, I always say sometimes you get into a space where you feel this is it, and then you are minimized immediately. And it does happen. How Thabo knows, the craft, where you are at. But because you are in a space that is not controlled by you, they will minimize you so that they can control you. It's an unfortunate situation that happens. So that's why when I work with young people, I always say to them, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's talk about what you felt in the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. Before anyone was able to minimize you, before you were able before they put labels on you.
Yeah.
Because remember, what you're trying to move away from, Thabo, is the whole labeling system. Because the moment you are labeled, is that you work according to the label. That's why I always talk to ama graduates. You've got a qualification, but you need to extend yourself. That's why a lot of my projects are about developing the skill that's beyond your qualification. Because the moment you want the qualification, that is, you feel like you are locked into it. So I'm trying to break people free, especially young people, break free from just saying you are that label. You are not that label, pen. No matter how people celebrate it, but go beyond it. And that's my whole movement. When I really believe in that.
And it's a tough industry that you're in, extremely tough, and there's a lot of torture, and it's not only your success is not necessarily determined only by your worth, your talent, your excellence. There are variables that determine that, and luck, proximity, and being liked. Yes.
Who you hang out with, and it's got a lot of layers. It's layered, Thabo. It is layered. And also, you run away from being political. You don't want to be political. You just want to do what you do and leave and exit. But now, my whole thing is, there are young people that I'm working with, especially in the Khabonina Foundation, who are dying to be in this industry. Dying to be in it. So my whole thing is to how do we make them different? Because most of the time they come in with the talent, but they're not groomed for the industry. So my mountain to conquer is to groom these kids to understand how the industry works. You will be minimized. You will be labeled. You will be this, but how do you cope with it? We need to do lots of mental work that goes into these kids so that by the time they come in stronger. Because a lot of the kids come in thinking, it's my talent, I'm talented. So we need to say, yes, you are talented, but let's go beyond. Mentally, how are you going to survive and sustain yourself in this industry? How are you going to extend yourself beyond the label that says actor, beyond the label that says singer? How do you extend yourself so that you can become more? And this is why we need different artists that think differently, artists that create differently, so that our industry can change and be able to sustain itself.
Your favorite production? I said Shaka Zulu, but I did a technicality. You were on Shaka Ilembe, but your favorite...
I was about to say Mfunu Shaya. This is one of the biggest productions. Mfunu Qubeka le, I can hit you. Because, yes, I mean, but look, you are not wrong, because Vele Shaka Zulu, we grew up watching Shaka Zulu and we're inspired by that story. So by the time Bomb Shelter decided to come with Shaka Ilembe, we were all blown. But obviously the nerves, the stress was. And I think if you're asking in terms of one of the most favorite productions, I've worked on so many different productions, but different productions have got different things that trigger me, that make me feel something. For me, Shaka Ilembe was, because everyone was comparing it to, especially before season 1, to Shaka Zulu.
Yes.
They'll be like, no, Tina Sazi Untombas Loya, Sazi Unandi Loya, Sazi Banyana Loya, which is true. That's who we grew up knowing. So now when you have to come and bring this character to life, it's nerve-wracking, because you don't want to disappoint your audience. Your audience has been following you. They love your work. Now you are coming in and you are telling them away from what they grew up loving. Now you are saying to them, the story is going to be different. It's going to be told by you. It's a little bit tough. So that's why for me, that's what Bomb Shelter did for me. It made me feel, you know what, let's recreate. And I love spaces, Thabo, where people create. That's why I love talking to you, because you, as we are conversating, you are creating. We are creating moments. We are creating something. Someone is listening out there. There's a young person listening going, oh, okay, this is something that talks to me. That's us creating. And that's what I love. So that's what it did for me.
Khabo, I'm not buying face at all, but you kill it on everything that you do. In any production that you're involved in, one can sense the emotion, and genuinely so. I'm not getting anything from saying this, but that's what I feel. And I feel like you are one of those people who are genuinely gifted, and it's not social media that made you. It's not you knowing whoever. It's not. I feel the fire burning inside of you, and I'm just wondering, when you are playing a character, how much of it is from your experience, and what element of it comes from the external features, like you had to read up on this, you had to do research, and how do you combine all of it? Because honestly, your on-screen presence leaves everyone blown away.
Or like
Yeah, Mnyakcham, I want a
know,
date for next week.
I mean, you know that we're on air. Like, you know that we're on air. People are listening. Like, you could have said, just couldn't make it in. Let's talk on the side. Thabo, you know what? You know, the moment when you were saying this, I'm listening to you, and the way you engage. This is how you've always engaged, Thabo. This is not the first time I hear you speak. Okay, so when you engage, what goes into the process before you engage? You're engaging no Khabonina, right? What went into that? You did your research on what she's done, what went into you engaging. So it's the same thing as that's why it's with being an artist, we are chameleons, right? We get into a space and we shapeshift and we feel a certain thing and we move with it. But at the same time, because we are in the space over, there's a director, there's sound, there's a lot of things to consider around you. So what makes you a good actor is being able to be directed, is being able to understand the space that you are in. Because if we were allowed to be rebellious and do whatever we felt, it would, I don't think that any production that we work, because I mean, a lot of the people that I've worked with, I mean, our Abdul Kaur, our wise men, they are larger than life, if you know what I mean. So that's why I wouldn't even say to you, Thabo, there's a specific thing that you must do. Mele when the soul, and then you do this. It's never the same for each character. Like when I was on the BET show where I had to play Lebo Matosa's lover, when I had to play Ubongi.
Yes.
Bongi is still alive, and Bongi would come to set. So my process was different because I've hung with Bongi when we were working the Lebo Matosa. So now me playing her on set, and she's right there. So it's almost like it's almost like I felt like she could say to me, but Thabo, you're lying. I didn't do that. Do you know what I mean? So so you always have to be in a different space. I do understand that there's actors who have specific processes, and I've seen them on set, and those processes work for them, right? That's why you can't judge a process. But for me specifically, it's never been now when you're acting you must. It's never been that. It forms itself in me.
Sure.
It formed itself genuinely, yeah.
It's 20 minutes after 10 o'clock and you're on 702. It's Thabo. I'm in for Clement. It's Workers' Day today. And on the Hanging Out feature, we are speaking to the gifted, the ever-talented Khabonina Qubeka, actress, singer, dancer, choreographer, TV presenter, businesswoman, and many, many other titles that she wears comfortably so. If you'd like to send a text message, a voice note, feel free to do so on 072 702 1702. Alternatively, call us on 011 883 0702. Khabo, I can talk for hours and hours, especially with you non-stop. But I know that they asked you for some of the songs that you would like to hear. Tell us about the one that you'd like us to play now and tell us why, because I think you sing, you dance, you act, and music carries a strong element of our spirit.
Yes. It's an era, Thabo. It's an era. It's a moment. Also, as you were praising me, as you were going on about like basically I also wanted to say, please guys, also because this thing your kutazana in Okmaskas these days, also send a voice note. If you are feeling Thabo's engagement, send a voice note, WhatsApp us, and just say, Thabo, no, Sam, we love the way you are engaging. Because Thabo, I'm gonna tell you now, I've been on so many interviews, whether telephonically or live, and it feels like the host is not engaging with you. You understand? The person can be talking to you and then they'll be on their phone. And then I have to remember, of course, I'm not just talking to Thabo, I'm talking to audience. So even if Thabo is on his phone, I have to still remember there's someone just listening or watching attentively. So Thabo, really, thank you for that. Thank you for being so great. Okay, back to the song. If we're going in order, if we're going chronologically, the way I sent it, look, people do know this. People who know me do know this. Yabona umzwembe. It was an era of change for me. That was when we were watching Yizo. That's when we were. I knew Bongosi, and he would come to the dance class. I'm talking about before Uroni took over.
Yes,
which he killed as well.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about Bongosi when he played it first, and
on Yizo,
I remember being on Yizo, and I remember being nervous. I mean, Ubongosi
Yes, yes, of course. No,
yes. So,
I'm from Dobsonville, so I'm well versed, and that era, I remember it very well.
No, because I get manje mangithi bonkosi basuthi hawu unamanga uzala uzosenyabalungisa.
Yeah.
So Ubonkosi would come to the dance studio, and I remember he would be there early in the morning. And among the team, Khabonina, I was dance moving. So me seeing him as a dancer on the dance floor, and then him, watching the growth, watching him, become this incredible artist. And then by the time Zwembe came out, it was an era for me of, things were changing for me as well at school. I was rebellious. I was like, yeah, the president is white, but very soon the president is going to be black. So it's very similar to what you were referring to earlier before we started conversation. Is it better when the president is black or white?
Yeah.
So it was that era, and things were changing, and my hair, I was like, being a rebel, I want to change my hair, I want to do this. So it was an era of finding self. So that song for me has got the beat that makes me want to dance unapologetically. It makes me want to dance, reveal. It makes me forcefully be who I am. So sometimes it happens in life that life is not lifing. Sometimes life is not lifing. But a song like that brings me back to remember why you started coming. Go back, do this. We've got you, do this. Yeah.
Yeah, and here it is, Khabo Mzwembe by Zola.
Amen.
Satare cosa bere che ti cane due be. Satare va correre che ti cane quello fa. Ya che so baderab, cara va se abattotta in pere. Ya che so baderab, cara va se abattotta in pere. Satare cosa bere che ti cane due be. Satare va correre che ti cane quello fa. Fate bucopa via, cara va se abattotta in pere. E fate la bucopa via. Dove era io ti prende? Cara va se abattotta in pere. Fate la bucopa via, cara va se abattotta in pere. E fate la bucopa via, cara va se abattotta in pere. Fate la bucopa via, cara va se abattotta in pere. Cara va se abattotta in pere. Fate la bucopa via, cara va se abattotta in pere. E fate la bucopa via, cara va se abattotta in pere. Fate la, cara va se abattotta in pere. Lo chiama, se gli vuole abbaffare l'assessore. Fammi vuota, a voglio tu sallo fulla ma feva. Fogana, pensi come da fulla. Se visiti a trova. Schietta wassala. Fogana, tutti posso so scuola. Vedi quella io filo. Ya shosholosa. Angelana, poliseri. Abuja futu halo juana. South Figa Girl Tower. Ya salama felo gasa. Fogana, Figa Girl Tower. Ya salama felo gasa. Evo fiti sono salama pulo baba Figa Girl Tower. Evo baba pulo baba salama via mas Figa Girl Tower. Matenami, ade fele wenda felu pege vida. Obada di fele pada pege wenda. Matenami. Hele yo twende. Kale wase abattotta in peri. Matenami komba vida. Kale wase abattotta in peri. Hele yo twende. Kale wase abattotta in peri. Pega la matenami. Kale wase abattotta in peri. Pega hele yo twende. Kale wase abattotta in peri. Matenami komba vida. Kale wase abattotta in peri. Hele yo twende. Kale wase abattotta in peri. Abattotta in peri. Matenami abattotta in peri. Ega satare cosa bere che ti cade il tuo bere. Ega satare va correre che ti cade quello fa. Matenami compa via. Kale wase abattotta in peri. Ega la matenami. Kale wase abattotta in peri.
Mhembe by Zola. Oh my goodness me, that time. My guest is Khabonina Qubeka, and this is her song choice by Zola Mhembe. What a fantastic song, Khabo. You get yourself coming out all rough and tough, eh?
Like, I remember being bigger when I was smaller.
Yeah.
Mankula being bigger go oven. Mankala being bigger oven. You started running charging. Atu go makulam. Hey, makinasi. So as the song is playing now, you just feeling your child again. And my little one, she's 6. Now
Yeah.
they go oven. I understand. So it's still there. It's still
Yes.
there. Still the same, Tabs. Still the same.
Well, before we quickly go to the Eyewitness News headlines, let's read some messages that came through. This one says, please tell Khabo that I'm her number one fan. I'm also her future ex-husband in waiting. I just love her. Can you please ask her to keep up with the physical training motivation? And the other one says, good morning, Thabo, and your guest. What an amazing and wonderful interview. Does your guest do mentoring for young adults? Please ask her. Thank you so much. The next one says, good morning, Thabo. Khabonina is such a humble human being and a free soul. Love her to bits and wish her all the best in life. This is Jabsile from Midrand. All that love for you, Khabo. Do you feel, how do you handle compliments, Khabo? Do you assess it very closely, and do you absorb it with a little perhaps caution that I need to be careful, or do you just let it all in?
You know what? I grew up as an only child. And yet my mother is a single parent. So for me, love is love.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing me love and you are underhanded, you've got issues, or you're bringing me love with a side twist, that's your problem.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's all on you. I mean, I'm going to take what I'm feeling from that love. So that's why I don't have time to observe it, to serve, or to check is this one cutting with it. Really, I genuinely feel it and I take it, and I really, really appreciate it, because it's scarce, Thabo.
Definitely.
You know the world that you in is scarce. So when you get it, you just embrace it. I really appreciate it. Yes, thank you so much.
29 minutes to 11 o'clock.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
24 minutes to 11 o'clock. You're on 702. Thabo in for Clement. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate your interactions. I'll read your text messages a little bit later on, and keep sending them through together with your voice notes on 072 702 1702. The Hangout feature, Khabonina Qubeka, is my guest. Actress, singer, dancer, choreographer, and she does a million other things. And she is speaking to us right now. You might have seen her on various productions on TV. You know her beautiful voice, her dancing, the yoga on social media that she exposes us to. She's just a woman of great talent. Khabo, you know, as we are talking, and I'm asking you this deliberately because there is a strong element of sincerity in what you do. You don't strike me as one of those fake people and who are just doing things for glam. I could be wrong, but that's the vibe that I'm getting from you, right? So there are many other potential budding actors and actresses listening to us right now. There are people who've been pushing, and not necessarily young, maybe our age or so. They've been pushing, but the doors are just not opening. There are people who've been going to auditions. Things are not computing. What do you say to them as someone who's inside, right? What insider information can you give them when someone is thinking, maybe this was not meant for me? And they see you and they love you and they're like, I want to be exactly that. That's where I want to be.
Yeah. So, you know what, Thabo, things have changed fully. Like the environment is completely different. Because had you asked me this question, like I said, maybe a couple of years ago, I would have said, no, continue, go to auditions and do this and do that. It's not about that anymore, Thabo. So my biggest advice, and I know a lot of people say to me, oh, but Khabonina, I'm talented. This is my craft. I don't have time for social media. You need to have the social media presence. You need to have Bonalabo TikTok, because they are going to ask you, because of Bona, you'll be talented. They're still going to say, how many followers does this person have? Right? I was shocked when I first experienced that. When I was actually helping an audition. So someone was auditioning for a part and we all thought this person is fantastic. You know, almost when there's an audition, when you come in and you assist.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I read the lines. I was a line reader for this person because they were going to play along me.
Sure.
And then after this person walked out, we were discussing and I was like, guys, it's an all-brainer. This person is it. This is perfect. This is, then they said, but how many followers does this person have?
Oh my goodness.
I walked out because I didn't understand what has that got to do with the talent. But then later, I brought myself to myself. Okay, Bona, they are seeing more than just the talent. What is the mileage of this person? So as an artist, we need to not just look at ourselves because this is where you're not going to win. You need to look at what are they looking for? So they're looking for very good. Do you have social media presence? Do you engage with the people that are watching you? Because it's not just about the fact that you are talented when at top. And unfortunately, that's it. So the talented one say to me, I don't have time for social media, Khabonina. I'm honing my craft. You need to granted, but get someone who's gonna do social media for you, even if they post for you once a week. And you need to show a different side of you. Maybe even put your monologues, on TikTok, or because these days you've got. I mean, look at your is it what's this Ubabalo with the one that does his routines, wakes up at 4 a.m. Ashford Hill.
Yes,
Hill, something like that.
Yes.
And look at I think it's Kabi, the guy that doesn't say a word, but now he's doing goals and all of that. So there's different platforms to use. So don't just rely on being accepted by. That's why it goes back to what I said to you earlier, Thabo. It's an industry that they are in control of. So you are going into their world. They have the right to decide if you are good enough for them or not. They've got the right to decide, namhlanje they're not in the mood for seeing someone like you. So they are in control of the world that you want to go into. Yep. So what I'm saying is that give yourself another branch. You look at a tree, give yourself a branch. Have your own little space. Social media, use the TikTok, do your skits on TikTok. Facebook is monetizing now. You can do fantastic skits on Facebook, do a story that all of us can follow and get on there. Do it on social media because you are in control of your social media space. Let them catch up when they see the hype. Then they'll be like, oh, okay, this is great. Because really, Thabo, you're going to be frustrated if you're going to rely on the one in one area. So this is another thing that the Khabonina Foundation is doing. I'm training these young people who don't just rely on when I finish school, I'm going to audition. I'm saying to them, from school, I did that in primary school. I was in trouble, Thabo. They said to me, I'm talking too much. I talk too much. How dare I talk too much at assembly. That was just blasphemy. I talk too much at assembly. So what they did, Thabo, is that as punishment, when you go in a black school, when I went to a black school, Lekata combined Alexander, back shy for being that. But when you go to a white school, they put you on stage in front of everyone. That's punishment. Biggest stage in. So when everyone goes into assembly, you stand there, and that's punishment. I was like, fantastic. I love this punishment. Then I proposed, get up. I said, okay, when it's Easter, can I do like a little Easter play? When it's Valentine, can I do this? So I started performing, using my getting into trouble as something that I used to get myself out there as a performer. And then that's when they started recognizing me at school for, we've got a play for fame, please come through and all of that. So I created it for myself, Thabo. You need to, because we are that, as people, we are so powerful. We don't realize the power that we possess. So abadala lababalingana nathi iyangena besiphuma on the other side because they've been through so much trauma. They've been so minimized. They've been so unseen. So it becomes very painful with them. But the young ones, that's why I'm starting them from little grade ones. We're going to start understanding who you are. Start crafting it for yourself now. So that by the time you get to a stage where you know you are talented, start creating your own things. Let them catch up.
Sure.
When they catch up.
072 702 1702.
Tibos, thank you for bringing me my crush to the studio, my brother. That's my crush you're talking to.
And we have so many text messages of people saying that you're their crush, Khabo. I become so jealous because
the problem. That's why how they do this.
Exactly. Because at some point I was your crush. At some point in my life, I remember many, many years, about 2,000 years ago, when I worked at KFM and you came to Mas Chaba's show on a Sunday.
Oh my God.
And I was a producer at the time on the other side of the window, and yes,
Thabo, I was expecting you to have a little bit of gay hair. I looked you up every age a bit. You are cheating.
Yeah, well, and then you said to Mashaba asked you if you've got a boyfriend, and you said, no, I don't, but I'm happy to go out with your producer there. I was like, good shot. There's my chance. I've been waiting for this all my life. There we go.
Thabo, listen, please tell them I crushed them back. It really means a lot. Because,
Yes.
and then sometimes it's also how you analyze it. Because some people, a lot of, like some ladies will be like, oh, these guys are saying like they're crushed, it's disrespectful. And I'm like, no, actually, it's appreciated.
Yes.
It's just formed in a different way. But I take it, as someone saying you're my crush, I take it as a compliment and an appreciation.
Yeah.
And I get that. That's it's natural. It's normal.
Yeah.
But when someone says, yo, you're my crush, even I've got wives saying to me, yo, my husband has got such a crush on you. You know, those kinds of things. So that's why for me, it's an appreciation. It's not, I don't take it as anything that is underhanded or rude. Until, bangena ukuthi embe sebavisa ama-body parts. That's where we are.
Yeah. Khona abanye la who are also equally naughty, and they've sent some text messages. And this one comes from Jobe Soprano in Orlando. And Jobe says, except Thabo and the voluptuous Khabonina, see why I say he's naughty. And it says, I could say so many things about this beautiful human being, Khabonina, but I'm only going to ask one question in 2 parts. But if she's not comfortable to speak about this, it's all good. Whatever happened, if she's free to talk about it, to the litigation case she had with a private clinic with where she lost her placenta. Apologies if it's too personal, but the story was public knowledge. And he is asking also a second question where he's saying, why was it important for her to bring her baby's placenta back home with her? Can she educate listeners on the significance of mothers and black families in general, safeguarding their children's placenta? Thank you so much for the talent. Listen on the radio. Jobe Soprano in London, Orlando.
Yo, Jobe Soprano, thank you so much for bringing me back to this. So, Thabo, 2 things. Number one, because especially black women, and not just in South Africa, globally, they don't understand the concept of the placenta. They don't understand what the placenta was meant for, what the placenta can do for you as a woman. It's meant for you. A lot of the women go through postnatal depression. So if you're going through that kind of thing, or maybe you had some complications, you can have, your placenta is meant for you to ingest so that it makes you feel better. So there's a lot of studies that went into this. There's placenta capsulation. So people are making money with your placentas. You know, it's too big. It's too big to go into. That's why I realized, oh, by the way, Thabo, you're a black female in South Africa. You can't push this because you're not getting support, and you are hitting a wall each time. Because I did get a lot of people saying we can support you, we can go ahead with it. But then I realized, in this country, as a black woman, without getting the right support, you won't go far because this is making them money. So my whole concept was a whole show. I had a whole show prepared, which is why I signed an agreement to please save my placenta, because I wanted to go through an education with women to understand the concept of that. So I really appreciate him for asking the question. You know, and I really did. I think it was about 6 years ago, I was really fired up to go into it. But years later, I think I just realized it's one of those things where, unfortunately, you won't win because this is a moneymaker. It's a money maker globally. So we are not supposed to know that there's an option to save your placenta, because your placenta they profile you, they study you, and they look at your mechanisms, and then they can decide where your placenta will go, which part of the world, what can they do with it. So it's a huge world. And I tapped into something that was not a comfortable something for some people.
Sure.
So I decided, Thabo, choose life and to choose, and that's what I went into. So please thank him for that.
Sure. There are different battles to fight, Thabo. Some you decide that, listen, it's really not worth it. I could fight, but it's really not worth it. And you can't go through life fighting every single battle that has offended you, people who offend you. There'll be so many other things. So you'll never actually live your life if you're fighting every single battle that comes your way.
Thank you for that, Thabo. You're right. Thanks for that.
There's a text from Lerato in Ramsey. She says, Thabo is the best. She's just so flawless. Love her so much. Please tell her. Very talented lady and so genuine. And that element of sincerity comes out. And she's saying that you're flawless. I would like to find out from you, who is a flawless, iconic figure or figures that you look up to, that you grew up to, and that you you were witnessing as you were growing up when Khabo, and you thought, I just love that person's craft. And you said we must share that liberally because, credit is scarce these days. And for you, who's that person, or who are those people who are killing it?
Thabo, I love the word. I mean, the word flawless. Ne? I mean, obviously, Beyonce number one band, which is flawlessness.
Yeah.
Because I started going into what is flawless. Because I mean, it's the same as what's perfect. Because when they say imperfection is perfection, imperfection is perfect. And I'm also very careful with these because I work with young people. I work in so many different elements. It's the same thing as when the whole men are trash thing started erupting.
Yes.
I had young boys coming to me saying, "Sis Khabonina, am I trash?" Do you understand? So you have to be very careful with how you deal with these subjects. So for me, flawlessness is coming with your flaws, but it's how you carry yourself. Because I don't believe, you see, that's why we go back to labels. I don't believe in labels, Thabo. I don't believe, and it goes to even name Pasha. That's why it's China, China, but exposed today, relax. Hey, China. Yo, wow, gosh, they must hey, yo, leave us, please. Leave us, Thabo. Leave us. Then they leave us. So then it goes back to the labels. So someone that I grew up looking up to is my mother. I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
This woman has looked good all her life. Even today, when I show a picture of my mother, oh my God. But not just in terms of how she looks. She did programs, my mom. So I would wake up in the morning, but your mother is gone to jail. Wait, before you get crazy. She was teaching rehabilitation programs in prison. She goes, her mother went to jail. Yeah, that's why that's why she's like this. You are waiting for the drop. The drop. No, but it should be. She's going to prison because she's a musician. She studied music. She studied opera. She would go to prisons to, especially Look Up prison is where she went.
Yes.
She started doing rehabilitation programs with prisoners. So she would go engage with them. They would talk about, their crime or whatever they feel like they want to talk about. Then she'd say, put it in a song or write it down or anything. Like she would, and for me, I was young. But my mother going into prison like almost every week, to engage with these prisoners was mind-blowing. And then after that, she started working with the youth. She started doing music with them. A lot of them are some of your known artists. They've been through her sessions, and then I went to watch her in the choir. She was performing with the Drakensberg choirs, the Philharmonic Oratorio. And then at the same time, there were issues where, for example, we would have a fight, we would have a fallout, and then Askhulumisani and all of those things. So all of these things are part of flawlessness for me. So I still see her flawless with all of this. Because for me, being genuine, Thabo, me sing Thabo Akhuzugile and then me sing Thabo in a suit, that's flawlessness. Yeah. That's flawlessness for me because we are not one thing. We are not one layer.
Certainly.
I think it's important for people to understand. So it's certainly her because of everything that she's done, everything that she's been through. Even today, she still goes to Hillbrow. She still teaches these kids because there's something that's tugging at her to do this. She's called for it, and she's amazing with kids.
Sure.
And then there's me with the grandkid, and then she's just amazing with her.
Yeah.
But for me, to answer your question, flawlessness is that, and it's definitely been her for all these years.
Certainly, and it's very important to look to people who are around you for role modeling and looking up to them. Very, very important because someone who's out there.
You're gonna say who Beyonce. Then you discover under the Guinness what Bebahamba underground, so you know what I mean? So I'd rather have it even with when I talk to young people, look follow someone that you feel you can is real. This thing of following just for the sake of following doesn't make sense. So even on social media, even on your TikTok, follow someone that you genuinely feel communicate with you, even if it's someone in your community. But there's role models that are around you. It doesn't have to be that far out.
And putting the role modeling thing on the side, Khabo, I grew up loving radio with all my heart, and I looked up to certain individuals, and I loved the craft that they did and how they did it. And my question now is about that. Are the people that you see on screen, locally and internationally, and you say, listen, I enjoy really what Denzel is doing. I love how he does what he does, and do you have those individuals in your life? So
listen, Thabo. This gives me goosebumps all the time. there is a character. I mean, look, we are each other's fans in this industry. I mean, I can tell you from Oleratum Velase to Ogobonabo Wiseman to Abu, I mean, my bold queen, my Xhosa queen. You know, I love her. I love her work and all of that. So we are each other's fans, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
But now there is a young boy. I don't know where he's been on. I haven't seen anything else, but I experienced him on set. He plays the character Mzilikazi. He's going to play the character Mzilikazi. He walked in on set. Oh, the guy who slightly yellow, like yellow ponish.
Okay.
But when he's on that set, when he does his thing, because of the character.
I hear you.
I enjoy him. Can I tell you what? I'm even at a point where, like, even on set, I would say, we would have to travel about 45 minutes to the gate. But because I am in awe of the thing he does. I'm in awe of how he interprets it, how he sees it. And it's not a lot of moments. I mean, look, Wiseman Mncube does it for me. Wiseman, like, he is such a selfless actor. What Wiseman did on, and then not just moments where he's acting with me. I see things where I'm not involved, like where he takes the character and what he does on season 2, Thabo. What I was like, I thought season 1 was enough. What are you doing on season 4? What he does on season 2, and I'm a fan. I'm such a fan of this man's work. So for me, it's that. I think when I love newness. You know, I could say your Viola Davis, your Meryl Streep and all of that. But I love newness. I love discovery. So seeing this young boy play Mzilikazi, it's, for me, that's a skill being developed. And I'm interested in seeing where he's going to take this, how far. Because there's already people saying, Khabonina, you know, we hope the story goes into this, we beat Mzilikazi. And I just say to them, guys, the guy who plays Mzilikazi and what he does with this character is going to blow you away. And that's why skills development is so important. That's one of the biggest things that I'm doing. I mean, I met an incredible mentor in the Jeffreys Bay area. There's a school, Jeffreys Bay Academy. I'm interested in this woman in Renette Matia because she started a school from a dining room, from her lounge. She started with 2 students. Today she's got an entire school. She's got, you know, so she's huge in that, and that's a mentor for me. That's someone that develops skills now, and that's what she does. So I'm interested in people who do that. I'm interested in saying, I mean, Thabo is great. Thabo's got a craft. You are great on radio. What is Thabo doing? Is Thabo developing someone else, Anna Wadley, or are you aware that someone that's you and someone that is just so blown away by you? So I'm always interested in the newness, in what are we doing, who are we seeing, what are we finding amazing. So I'm sorry that I didn't answer your question.
No, you did. No, listen, there isn't any predetermined response, right? Because it wouldn't be a discussion. And I love your sincerity. We're having a chat and we're having a sincere conversation. So there isn't any specific right answer that I'm looking out for. Kobo, let's go to the voice notes quickly.
Good morning, 702. Good morning, Thabo. Good morning, Kabo.
Hi.
AKA Mrs. Miyagi. Works on, works off. I love the work that she's doing. Please carry on. Shine the light. You're the torch that shines. Thank you, Kabo.
Wow.
Bye.
Wow.
Tapelo from Protea North.
Oh,
and
that is huge.
Yeah. And tell us quickly about yoga before we say goodbye. Where did you meet it?
So can I talk about the fact that it's a movement, Thabo?
Sure.
So when you go back to the beginning of it, and there was a slight tension when I spoke about this before it was X, when it was Twitter, about the fact that in Kemet, there were people who moved in certain ways. So then I said, so it looks like the origins of this thing that's now called a yoga also could have started in North Africa, in Kemet. And I was like, no, it's not from there. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to point out how similar we are in terms of how we move.
Sure.
So the more I go into it, I mean, I've been moving my body in a certain way, but the term eti yoga is a term that's been termed by someone or by a body of people. So that's why I'm calling it a movement.
Sure.
It's a movement because your body is a machine. Your body does so many different things.
Yes.
Because I've learned over the years sometimes when I want to go and work in schools, when you say yoga, you wrap other people the wrong way. So you're careful in terms of what you're calling it because it's not a religious practice per se, but because it has so many layers. That's why for me a movement. Your
You're-
body is it's meant to move in a certain
Khabo,
way.
you're going to kill me. We flat
I know,
out
we're
of
out of time.
time. You know, you think that an hour is such a long time up
It's
until you
ridiculously
speak.
long.
It's
Yes.
gone. It's gone. I didn't
No,
even
but
play
Khabo,
3 of your songs.
I know, Thabo, I'll trade the songs for you anytime. I'll trade songs with you.
You
anytime.
are
This
too
is-
sweet.
this
You're
is
too
just
sweet.
Thabo.
Thank you for
Such a
talking to
pleasure.
us. Thank you so much. I really mean it. You've been amazing. You are fabulous. I hope that the heavens open their blessings to you, Khabo, and keep rising from strength to strength. All the best to you.
Thank you, Thabo. Thank you to the listeners and for all your messages. I love you with all my heart and soul. Thanks, Thabo.
Khabonina Qubeka, actress, dancer, choreographer, TV presenter, and businesswoman.